Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The SWOT Matrix is one of the most reliable tools for developing a 3 to 5 year strategic plan. Additionally, it is one of the best tools for identifying your true strengths and weaknesses for developing your competitive advantage or a business plan market analysis. If you are looking to develop one for your company, then this video is for you. Transforming your business from struggling to success and from success to significance. If you have been following our videos on business plans versus strategic plans, your competitive advantage, or the competitive intelligence videos, in all of them, I stress the importance of understanding your company's true strengths and weaknesses and your competitive advantage over your competitors. One of the best ways to obtain that information is by performing a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. The SWOT Matrix is one of the most reliable tools and methodologies used in corporate America for strategic planning and one of the best ways to understand your company's strengths and weaknesses in order to create a competitive advantage in your industry. In my Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses book, I have 2 chapters that cover how to develop the SWOT Matrix and how to analyze it to develop your strategic initiatives going forward. In this video, I will show you how to create your SWOT Matrix. In the second part of this video, I will show you how to analyze it to develop your strategic initiatives for your strategic plan. But before we start in your SWOT Matrix, let's define strengths and weaknesses. For the purpose of the SWOT Matrix exercise, a strength is something that you do significantly better than average compared to your competitors. A weakness, on the other hand, is something you do less than average. Of course, to understand what is average, you need to understand the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors, which I explained in the competitive intelligence video. You can only understand what average is if you understand how good your competitors are in your industry. Step 1 is to develop your revenue and profitability pie charts, which will be used later to validate your SWOT matrix. For the revenue pie chart, show your various products and services as a percentage of your revenue. For the second, show your profitability by product or service as a percentage of your gross profit or cost of goods sold. If you provide services, develop a pseudo cost of goods sold by factoring in those labor, overhead, and G&A expenses that are directly associated with providing those specific services. These pie charts are typically eye-opening to many business leaders. They will now come face to face with understanding which products and services provide the greatest revenue, along with which ones are being subsidized by other products and services your company offers. It's always shocking to find out this is where your money is really coming from. What is it that you do that brings the most value to others and value back into your company? Step 2 is to survey your customers and competitors about how they see your strengths and weaknesses. Remember, other than God, it's your customer's perspective that counts the most in business. By the same token, your competitors are in the same business as you are. They may have a prejudiced opinion about you, but they are also experts in your same industry. You can learn from their perspective on your strengths and weaknesses. How do you survey your customers and competitors about you? As I mentioned in the competitive intelligence video, the key is learning how to ask the right questions in a non-threatening way. And of course, you only ask those customers and competitors that you have a good relationship with in the first place. Ask them face to face. Let them know you are always looking to bring greater value and that you value their opinion and input. Never ask more than 2 or 3 questions in one sitting. You don't want them to feel like they're filling out a survey form. Remember, timing is everything when you're asking someone for a favor, which is exactly what you're doing when you're asking them to provide input to your strengths and weaknesses. Step 3. Assemble your team. The SWOT matrix is best developed in a group setting. Get the leaders in your company and the heads of sales and marketing, finance, operations, production, quality, HR, and technology involved. I give details on how to prepare and conduct these meetings in the Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses book, which is generally done over multiple meetings, but the key is learning to ask the right questions. For example, if you simply ask the question, "What are our strengths and weaknesses?" the answers you get will largely be useless. Additionally, be prepared for some corporate cheerleaders that will tell you that you don't have any weaknesses. Everything you do well and better than your competitors. The way I handle that is to ask them, "Well, Jeff, other than yourself, who else believes that? Which customers said that? which competitor believes that. Since you have already polled your customers and competitors in the previous step, you'll be able to confirm or refute opinions that don't make any sense. The key is to ask the right questions and give your team time to think about their honest answers. In the book, I present about 50 questions that I use for the entire SWOT matrix. But here, I'm going to show you 5 good questions on strengths that I like to use when facilitating a strategic planning session. The first question is, why do our customers love our products, services, and company? Their reasons, not ours. The second is, what is our best-selling product or service and why? Make sure this is substantiated with the financial pie charts. What does our company do better than our direct competitors, and do our customers and competitors agree with that statement? 4 is, in what products or services and markets do we compete best and why? The 5th question is, what is our competitive advantage, and do our customers and competitors agree with that statement? I guarantee you these 5 questions will work much better than simply asking your team, what are our strengths and weaknesses? As I've said many times, the key is to learn to ask the right questions. Ask the right questions and you'll get the right answers. As you gather the input from your team during these SWOT matrix sessions, or the input you are gathering from your customers, prospects, or competitors, you will find that many of them are saying the same thing in a different way. Initially, don't worry about the clarity or meaning of their language, but just capture everything on a whiteboard as you do this exercise. You will have time afterwards to rewrite, summarize, and condense these strengths and weaknesses later in your SWOT matrix. One more thing about these SWOT matrix sessions. Although I wrote the Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses book so that every business owner could develop their own strategic plan without paying a fortune to a management consulting company to come in and do it for them, I highly recommend everyone enlist a good facilitator to lead your SWOT sessions. Ideally, someone who is experienced in facilitating SWOT planning sessions. You will want to give them at least 1 week to get to know your company's successes and failures during step 1. There are many reasons for that, as I explain in the book, but for now, realize that this will make your job a lot easier than trying to lead it yourself. Step 4 is clarifying your SWOT matrix. Before we can validate and use the results of your SWOT matrix, we need to clarify your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and determine the top 5 statements or messages in each of the 4 quadrants of your matrix. Your team may have identified 12 strengths and 20 opportunities, but which ones are your top 5? In order to do this, you'll need to study each one of the statements in each quadrant. What you will find is that many of the statements are saying the same thing in different ways. Combine similar statements without losing the important message contained in each statement. Then prioritize and rank each statement from 1 through 5. Now, you not only know your top 5 strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but you've ranked them in importance as well from 1 to 5. Step 5 is to validate your SWOT matrix. Before we start using the results of your SWOT matrix to develop your strategic plan or complete the market analysis of your business plan or develop your competitive advantage, we need to validate the results of your SWOT matrix to make sure that the results you obtained make sense. One of the reasons that I love the SWOT matrix as a strategic planning tool is that it is easy to validate your strengths and weaknesses. But before we can do that, you'll need to review your company's history of projects and products. Whenever I facilitate a SWOT analysis for another company, I will do this up front when the financial pie charts are being developed, even before the SWOT matrix sessions. I will study the company's successes and failures from a historical perspective. Where did they have the great successes and where did they struggle the most? Did they do better with sole source procurements or competitive bids? Did they do better with small volume products and services or large volume ones? How did they get that business? Was it through friends and family or people they knew in advance? What type of marketing pitch was used to find those customers? Had they sold those products and services before? Or was this the first time? What was the common denominator with their successes and what was the common denominator with their struggles and failures? Now we compare these successful products, services, and customers against their strengths and weaknesses identified in the SWOT matrix. What you should see is that these successful products and services align themselves perfectly with your company's strengths. Now identify your biggest failures and struggles historically. Which products, services, or customers were the ones from hell? Which ones did you struggle the most with and lost money on? Which are the ones you would avoid getting involved with if you could do it all over again? What you should see is that these challenging products, services, and customers align themselves perfectly against your weaknesses. Your SWOT matrix should be self-validating against your previous successes and failures. If it isn't, then I would revisit your SWOT matrix. You may not have been perfectly honest with yourself when you develop. So at this point, you should now have a SWOT matrix like the one shown that identifies your top 5 strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. In the next video, I will show you how to do the analysis of your SWOT matrix to develop the strategic initiatives for your 3 to 5 year strategic plan, which is probably why you're watching this video in the first place. However, if you're only looking to identify your strengths and weaknesses for the market analysis section of your business plan, or to develop a true competitive advantage, you will not need to look at the SWOT matrix analysis. But you may want to look at the competitive advantage, competitive intelligence, or business plans versus strategic plans videos. You may also want to look at my Strategic Planning for Kingdom Businesses book, which goes into greater detail than the videos. If this video has been of some help to you, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. If there are any other topics you'd like to see discussed relating to the SWOT matrix or strategic planning, let me know. Until then, be blessed and keep doing business His way.